Well, hey guys, it's Brent. We're here on stage 1 at the YouTube Space LA inside of our 360 horror sets with the master of horror. Is it weird to call you master of horror?
Yeah, James Wan is the master of horror.
Okay, well then Jason Blum's here.
I'm like the runner-up of horror.
It's fine.
Okay.
We couldn't get James Wan. We got Jason Blum, which is totally cool. Dude, thank you so much for coming back. You've been at the space before, but now we're inside of our 360 horror set. What do you think? Is the creative vibes moving?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It looks great. It looks very, on the surface very normal, but underneath appropriately creepy, thank God.
Right, well, we've just hit bodies.
Yes, exactly. And I've seen little drops of blood here and there.
Well, that was just from something unrelated.
That was actually real blood.
Yeah,
yes, exactly.
Jesse from Prank vs. Prank
is gone.
Yeah,
he's no longer with us.
You guys, rough. Well, you have had your hands in like some of the biggest horror franchises. I mean, obviously Paranormal Activity, you got Insidious and Sinister, but some of my favorite horror
Ouija and
films,
The Purge, don't leave
Creep.
Easy does it.
Creep and Hush.
Creep and
are
Hush.
two of my favorite horror movies that have come out in the last 5 years. Why is it so important for you guys at Blumhouse to both do kind of the really big spectacle stuff? Obviously Purge and Paranormal Activity are there, but like those really small ones, like Hush blew me away.
Awesome.
It was so much fun to watch, knowing nothing going into it.
Right.
So what about that? Still, you have that like independent spirit. What draws you to that stuff?
Well, so what we're really drawn to is scary, right?
Right.
Whether it's a big movie, whether it's a smaller movie like Hush or Creep, or whether it's a TV show, whether it's something on YouTube, something on Crypt, so whether it's a live event, you know, what I really like is it's not that I like big movies, it's that I like scary, weird stuff in all media. We actually have a book in print. We did a scary book. We actually have a few more coming out. So that's really the mission statement of the company, is kind of scary and dark theme materials in all shapes and sizes.
Everything about that describes Mark Duplass's character in Creep.
That's true.
Just go watch it. You turn this off. We'll wait. I mean, just pause. We're not actually gonna go. It's so good. Even outside of like independent film, though, how much do you find yourself going down like YouTube rabbit holes and finding the weird, scary stuff or some narrative stuff? A lot, there?
And I love the conspiracy theory stuff on YouTube. I get very into that, and I also love that it's where people start, you know. And I always say when I'm talking to a class or whatever, they're like, "What should we do?" And I'm always saying, you know, don't wait for Hollywood. You know, go make your thing, make something scary, put it on YouTube. If it's scary stuff you want to do, put it on YouTube. And if not a lot of people watch it, make another one. Absolutely. And I always say, I promise you, if you make 10, one of them, a lot of people are going to watch, or at least a bunch. If you make 20 and no one's watched, maybe you should do something else.
Yeah, maybe. But everyone wants to jump into like, I'm going to make my first horror feature film. But YouTube is so powerful because, like, let's be real, your first movie, maybe get it on YouTube, start small, get good, get better, keep making stuff.
And keep making stuff. And I think the great thing is also to have that we've never been able to have like immediate feedback into stuff that we did ever. Right. Certainly when I was growing up, you know, you had to wait 2 years to see what people thought of your work, and now you get to know right away, and you can go back and twist. And when we did Paranormal Activity, the first Paranormal Activity movie, Oren had made the movie, and we partnered together to try and get it out there in the world, and we actually changed the movie 50 times. We would screen the movie.
Famously so.
Yeah, famously. We'd screen the movie, someone would say something, Oren would call Katie and Micah, they'd go down to the house, they'd shoot for 2 hours, and then we'd screen it again. And that was really kind of a great predecessor to, you know, how stuff is done on YouTube, and you can put it out, you can change it, you can do whatever, and no one's ever, that's a very new thing in the creating of film content.
And just to have access to now, like we have basically magic supercomputers and cinema cameras in our pockets, much less if you're at a YouTube space and you have all of this at your fingertips. If you want to do it, there's kind of no excuse now.
There's no excuse.
Again, just pause this, we'll wait. Go make a movie.
No excuse. Go make a movie immediately.
Welcome back. So what piece of advice would you have for people who, all right, they went out and made their short, and the way YouTube works is like, if you make something good, it does kind of find that audience. It goes back to like, if you really believe in something and think something's cool, certainly there are other people too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's say got a short film, a horror film, it's got 1 million views on YouTube. What should be my next step? What should I be focused on?
Well, I think one thing that's also great about making content today is there are a gazillion things you can do. Some people don't ever want to do anything more but control everything and stay on YouTube. I think that's great.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, why, if you know, why do you want to get, when you start doing movies and TV and someone else is paying for them, someone else then's got to makes a lot of decisions for you, and suddenly you're not controlling nearly as much as you control that way. So I think I always applaud that decision. Yeah. When people say like, I'm on YouTube, no matter how successful I am, I'm going to stay here. Now you can make great money doing it. So I think that's terrific. But then if your desire is to make more traditional movies and TV, if you really have 1 million views, the next thing is to get representation of some kind. That's your next step.
Yeah, but as the projects get bigger, there's more hands involved with it. So you do kind of lose a little bit of that independent
You lose
spirit.
a ton.
Right.
When someone else is paying for what you're doing,
You have to deal with that.
you lose control.
So, mo money, mo problems, dash Jason Blum.
More definitely. That's the
Bang.
whole foundation of my company.
So we're obviously in the middle of our 360 set. We were talking a little bit before. You've watched some 360 horror stuff. What is it about that new form of technology and storytelling that's interesting to you?
Well, it's scarier. 360 virtual horror in VR is scarier, although you have to scare people totally differently.
Right.
So scares that work in Insidious or Ouija or whatever will never work in VR.
Right. So you don't have the power of that cut or that.
You don't have the power.
frame
You don't have the power to manipulate the person to look at something you want them to look at.
Right.
VR, the person gets to choose what they want to look at. That's kind of great for the person, very hard for the filmmaker because he's got to make
comments
everything.
are like, "Nice floor, man." You're like, pick up your phone. It was just you were looking down.
Yeah, you look
Don't
down
do
for a
that.
second.
Come on, man. But I mean, we teach 360 classes here to a lot of the creators. I actually just taught one this morning, and one of the things we use when we do our horror examples is put yourself in the mindset like you're in a haunted house.
Right.
So when you walk through a haunted house, what are you really feeling? You're like, at any moment,
Right.
something could happen in any direction.
That's
so
good.
whenever you're creating that, recreate that vibe, that feeling, because if you're just using this much of it,
Right.
like there could be something that pops out of that door,
Right.
and you really want that audience member to feel like I need to continue to look around. So.
Yeah, it's much better to think about a haunted house than a scary movie when you're making VR.
Yes.
Much better.
It's totally different. It's all experiential, and
Yeah.
I'm personally very excited to see what these creators
Me
came up
too.
with in this
Me
space.
too.
Yeah,
Me
I'm
too.
sure you are. Thank you so much
Should be great.
for
Thank
helping
you.
out and giving some advice, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thank
we'll
you.
see you soon. More money, more problems.
More money, more problems.
Back to life.